So today I thought it might be helpful to show you guys a little project that I've been working on here and how you can take a long form piece of content that is, 12 minutes long in this case, and how you can create YouTube shorts or any short form content out of that longer clip and how I use DaVinci Resolve to do it. Just want to show you guys how I kind of set things up and how I can do all this in one project, right? Using multiple timelines and stuff. It's pretty easy, pretty basic. It's not too complicated, but if you don't know how to kind of go from, say, a long form piece of content down to short ones that you can use for YouTube shorts or whatever, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hope you guys find it helpful. If you have any questions, comments, leave it down below. With that said, let's jump into Resolve and I'll show you what I got going on with this project. Let's go. We're in DaVinci Resolve here. Let me just explain this project a little bit to you. And then we're going to show you how I went from a big, long edited timeline that's about 12 minutes long and how I made shorts out of particular parts of that timeline. So take a look at Resolve here. If I zoom my timeline out, what this is a video that I took at a worship night we had at my church. And I worked with a couple other guys who were filming multiple angles here for the worship night. We were filming the band, the music, the audience, all that kind of stuff. So we had a couple set angles. And my job was to kind of walk around in and out of the crowd and get shots kind of like the one that you see up here on the screen now, where you're looking through people. We're getting shots of the audience. And what I did was I edited together a whole cut of just the parts that I took, right? Not entire songs, but like clips and snippets of songs to kind of represent the whole night. And I also had a audio track from the soundboard, so we've got high quality audio to go with my random shots of walking through the crowd. They look kind of something like what's on the screen here. Check it out. Right, different angles for me there, moving around, different songs. So I just thought it'd be fun to throw together a video. So I did that, and what I came up with was a 12-minute video here, and just kind of like a little sample of the night, which was over an hour long. So what I wanted to do is take some of these clips and break it down into smaller videos that my church, as well as, I'll post some here, that we can use as shorts and short form content. So I started by creating the entire edit together, as in one long edit. So then I was like, okay, well, how can we take this and make smaller pieces? Well, what I wanted to do was grab certain sections of maybe a particular song and use that as a vertical video format and be able to make a short out of it, essentially, so less than a minute. So to get started, like I said, I edited the entire 12-minute video here, and the next thing that I need to do is create a vertical format timeline, because that's what my videos are going to be when it comes to shorts and stuff. So to do that, taking a look over here, I'm in the media pool. I've got this open right here. I'm just going to create a new timeline by right-clicking. I'm going to come to Timeline, Create New Timeline. And then when it comes to the timeline settings, because my project is set up as a default to be a horizontal video, we don't want to use the project settings right here. So I'm going to rename this guy real quick. I'm just going to call it Short 8, because I've already created 7 other shorts out of this. So I'm going to uncheck Use Project Settings. Short number 8, I'm just going to leave the videos and tracks as it is. I'm going to come to Format, and I'm going to go with a 1080 or 1920 by 1080, but I want to check on this, Use Vertical Resolution, because we want our video to be a vertical format. So you upload it to YouTube. YouTube says, hey, it's a short, check it out, and it just automatically puts it in as a short for you. So the other things I'm going to leave as is, and I'm going to go ahead and click Create. So now we have our vertical video right here. We can see it in our viewer up here, right? That's what we want, and that's perfect. So now how do we take our long form content and bring it into our short timeline and start to edit it into a vertical format video? So here's what I've been doing. There's 2 ways you can do it. Right now you see I've got different tabs open with different timelines, right? We have our long cut right here, and we've got our short right here. So you can look at them like that if you want. And if you don't see these tabs, click on your timeline view options and make sure that this first one right here is checked on, right? Because if I turn it off, you see now I don't have any tabs. I'm just in one particular timeline. So go ahead and click on that and make sure you're showing 2 tabs. You can do it this way by flipping back and forth, or a little bonus tip here is you can come and click on this icon right here, which is going to allow you to look at 2 timelines at once. And notice it's a little tight on my screen, so I'm going to do the best I can to adjust this here so we can see what's going on in each timeline. So now you see up here, I've got my short number 8. So let's say I want to see my long cut up here, right? This is my entire long cut timeline. And down in this one on the bottom, I want to see my short. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the little drop down here, and I'm going to pick short number 8. And it actually looks like I have to close it on the top one first. So then I can open it on the bottom one, short number 8. Boom, there we go. Now there's nothing in here at the moment. So what I want to do is look at my long form video and decide, okay, what section or what clips do I want to use to create my short? So I've got a bunch of different pieces and parts of songs here. So I just have to pick one that I like, and we're going to make a short out of it. So I'm going to come to, let's see, this part right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And the bigger the screen you have, a lot of times, the easier it's going to be to kind of navigate around, because you can see it's a little tight here to have 2 timelines on the screen. So if you want to flip back and forth between 2 timelines using just the tabs up here, that's okay too. And I do that a lot as well. A lot of times I don't work, with 2 timelines here, but in this case, it's going to be helpful to see it. So I know that this song starts, right here with this clip, and it comes to about right here. So what I'm going to do is just come in here, and I'm just going to click, hold, and drag to copy these clips. And I'm going to continue down onto the audio section here. So that way I am getting all of the audio clips as well. So you can see here on my timeline, we've got 3 tracks of audio clips. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks of video clips. And that's what I want to use to make my short, because I like the cuts that I made, and being that, I filmed it myself, there's parts where I was running in between shots, right? And I just recorded the whole time so we can sync it up with the other angles that we have, but I don't need all the shots of me running in between, different angles and stuff, right? So I made cuts and just kind of put it together so that we would just see the angles that I actually got decent shots of. So what you can do is now you've got some options here on how to bring this into our new timeline, our short. The first thing that you can do is just click on it, hold, and drag it right down into the new timeline. Let go, boom, there we go. Now I have all of my clips in my timeline. But let's say you weren't looking at it in this view, you were looking at it in just the tabs view. If I go ahead and undo this, what I can do is have my clips selected up here, just like I've already got, and I can just use Command on Mac or Control on a PC, plus the letter C to copy it. So Control C or Command C, copy. Then I'm going to come down to my short number 8 timeline, just put my playhead at the beginning here. I'm going to right click and say paste. And boom, there are all of my tracks that I pasted from my long timeline. Now, if I take a look at it here, my playhead's at the end of the clip. We're at 1:09. So I know I'm going to have to cut some time off of this particular set of clips, right? And also, if I take a look at my long cut timeline, notice that this track right up here with the videos, the clip 003, so right here, the clip 003, I have that turned off. And that was only on because I used that as an angle to sync up the good audio that I've got. So I can come in here and I can just disable that track because I know I don't need it. I can also scroll down on my audio tracks here. And if you don't see your waveforms here, just make sure you got them turned on with this guy right here. And I like this view where it kind of puts them in the middle there for me. I know that I didn't use this last track here, and in my master timeline where I synced everything up, the good audio, my angles, I have 2 angles here in this particular long set of video. It's already muted in that master timeline, so I don't need to mute it here necessarily, but I like to just in case so we don't get anything extra going on. So now that I've got my clips that I want to use for my vertical video, my short, in its own timeline, I don't need to keep open my long cut anymore. So I'm just going to come up here to this little icon right here, and I'm going to hit that, and it's going to close the window for me. And now we can just drag this window back down, give ourselves a little more room here on the timeline. And you might notice that I do have some open tracks here, right, where there's just space that I don't need there. So what I like to do is then come in here, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say delete empty tracks. And it pushes everything together, gets rid of those empty tracks for us. So now I would go through and I would start to edit the video to be able to fit our vertical format. For example, if I look right here at this clip, obviously it's too small, right? It's still a horizontal video. So we need to make it fit into a vertical timeline here in a vertical video clip. So to do that, it's pretty easy. You can see that I do have an adjustment clip here, which has my color grade on it. And I can scale things up using the adjustment clip if I want. But in this case, I want to do it on the clip itself. So I'm going to just select my clip. I'm going to open my inspector right here. And I'm just going to come and scale up my clip. Zoom out a little. And one thing that can help you when you're scaling and moving things around is if you come over here and you click on this guy right here, the transform icon, right? Click the little drop down, you see it's the transform at the top. And this allows me to just come in here and grab it and scale it, right? Way easier than using the transform tools over here. And I'm going to position it like this, put it right about there, and I'm going to watch the video to see how's my shot, right? Am I moving all over the place? Do I have to track the singer here and make sure he stays in the middle of the frame? And just kind of see how it lays out. Now I can make it a little bit bigger here, pull it over like this. And let's just play through a second of this and see how it looks. So I'm gonna start at the beginning here and let's see what we got.
And on that day, we join the resurrection, stand beside.
Okay, so you can see when I was filming, right, I kind of floated a little bit, right? Because I knew I had a full wide screen here. But when we're working with vertical video, we need to get our person right into the middle, right? So I'm gonna show you how to do that real quick. I'm gonna back up here. So right here, my singer's in the middle. That's what I wanna do. I like that. Now what I'm gonna do is use keyframes to just follow him as I move the camera around, right? So what I'm gonna do is just come to my clip. I'm gonna select my clip. And we're going to use the position keyframes to position him and have him stay in the right spot in the clip. So all I have to do is click on this right here, and it's going to add a keyframe for me. Now, sometimes when you add that first keyframe, you may need to make a little bit of an adjustment there. So I'll just tweak it a little bit there, and it should set a keyframe on your clip for you. So now I'm going to mute it so we don't hear our audio. I'm just going to move forward, and I notice I go over that way, right? So what I want to do is bring him back by using the position here in the Y. I'm going to bring him back to the center. And then as my clip goes on, notice I kind of film to the left, right? And the singer's still over here. So I'm going to wait until my camera kind of stops moving, which seems about there. And now I'm going to click on the X, hold, and drag so that the singer's back in the middle of the clip. Now, if I play through it, let's see how that looks. Do we follow him? So you can see it comes into focus. Keyframe following him there. And as I zoom in, that's pretty good. It stays pretty good on him, right? It may not be perfect, and obviously the more time you spend on it, the better it's going to look and the better it's going to be. So he stays there, and it's okay to have it move around a little bit. You want some kind of visual interest there, right? I don't want it to be just static and not move at all, at least for me. I mean, maybe your opinion's different, and that's okay. So if I play through the clip, you can see that looks pretty good. And towards the end there, he gets moves over a little bit. But let's just say for now, say I'm okay with that. Well, maybe it does kind of go over a little far there. So let's say like here, I'm going to wait till he's over at the farthest point, right there. Click and drag it back a little bit more. See how that looks? And now you see it kind of goes over that way a little much, but you get the idea. You can go slower, go frame by frame. However you want to do it is just fine. So now this video, I decided to scale it up so it filled in the vertical format, right? Now when we get to my next clip here, this is another angle that we had where we synced up the audio from the soundboard. So this is where our good audio comes from. And when we look at it, I know it's a little small on the screen here. See if I can make it a little bigger. Right, this is our horizontal video here, and it's rather small on the screen. Now, you do have some options. I could zoom this guy in, like this. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off this for now. But then I only see a handful of the people on the screen there. So what I decided to do, instead of doing that, I reset it. And what I decided to do is actually have something in the background, essentially the same video clip in the background. And to do that, you can use the blanking fill, which is a built-in effect here in Resolve. It's in the free version. It's in Studio as well. So if you come to your effects library right here, close my media pool for a second, effects library, we're going to come down to open effects, scroll down, and right here we've got blanking fill. So I'm going to click hold, and I'm just going to drag and drop that on my clip. Now you can see it filled the void space or the space with no video with the same video, but it stretched it out, right? Now I don't like the way it looks all stretched here. So what I decided to do was have my clip selected in the inspector, come to the effects, and down here, fill extent. We can change this from stretch to timeline to zoom to timeline. This way it just zooms in on the clip. Things don't get distorted and it doesn't look all out of whack. Now over here on the sides, you're like, hey, wait a second, trim my video down. I don't want to do that. Here you go. Here's the fix for that. Click on source, and right here we've got crop. For some reason, it automatically crops things for you. Sometimes I don't like that, so I'm just going to drag that guy back to 0, and boom, there we go. Now we can see how that looks. It looks pretty good. And also in this effect, what's cool is that you can change the fade amount, right? So if you want to fade it more or less, usually I do a little less, and I don't want it to fade to a white background like this. I want it to be a little bit darker. So I can change the fade color, and I just change it to black. That way, if I put a lot of fade on there, it gets really dim, right? So I'm going to just go ahead and fade. That looks pretty good. And you've got the option to blur it more too, right? I don't want something that's clear like this. I want it to be blurred so that way my main video clip stands out a little bit. Another thing I like in this effect is the drop shadow. So you can just grab that strength. I just crank that guy all the way up. You can change the blur on it if you want, the drop distance, all that stuff. I'm going to leave that up to you. So now another thing that I like to do is that since this is a static shot, if I play through the clip here, you can see it's just static, right? It was on a camera that was not moving, just on a tripod. It's kind of boring, right? Especially for a short or a short form content. So what I want to do is actually add in a little zoom to it, right? Just to give it a little bit of movement. So what I'd like to do is just come in here and put a dynamic zoom on it. It's really quick and easy. I'll select my clip, come to the video tab here, and we've got dynamic zoom. Go ahead and turn that on. And if we play through it now, you can see that clip zooms in and out. And you can change the amount that it zooms by coming over to this little icon here, dynamic zoom, and you can change your boxes and how it looks. So in this case, you can see I have it zooming quite a bit. And I like that, you know, in the beginning here, you can see the singer, he raises his arm up, so I'm zooming out from that to see everybody, which is kind of cool. So by using that dynamic zoom, it's quick, it's easy, and it just puts a little bit of movement to our shots. So now we're back to the singer singing here, and if I turn off my little dynamic zoom box there, you can see again, we're back to our horizontal video. So we already set it up how we liked it. So I just come into my first clip here, right? I'm gonna Command or Control C. Then I'm gonna come to my next clip, and I'm gonna use Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC plus V, which brings up my paste attributes. And in this case, I'm just gonna paste everything and see if it gives me what I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit apply. Move my playhead to my new clip. Not bad. Now you can see I'm a little shaky here, right, on this clip, so we may need to readjust it. And it looks like it did copy over the keyframes for us, which we don't want. I could have unselected that when I pasted the attributes, but I can also just select my clip, come up here in my timeline and hit the reset button there. And now let's see, without any keyframes in there, how does this look going from the wide shot here to the singer? Let's see how that looks. Let's turn on the audio just so we can hear it here. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now, my hand is a little shaky because I was handheld, and since we're in a vertical format here, I want it to be a little bit smoother. So what I do with these shots is then I come and I stabilize those shots. Again, in my inspector here under video, we've got stabilization, and the one that I've been using for this particular shoot that seems to work pretty good is I'll come and use translation. I just pull the smooth up a little bit, kind of randomly. I pull down the strength a little bit, and then I stabilize it, and generally the results are pretty good. And actually, the other thing I noticed too is that I'm running 2 audio tracks here, so I only want my good audio, which I know is this one right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute this one, which came from my camera, and it was just so I could sync up the good audio with my camera and make sure I was in sync, you know, with the good audio from the soundboard. So anyway, here's what it sounds like. Okay, so it's pretty good. I actually want to move it over a little bit. I'm going to select my clip. Come up here. We're just going to slide this over a little bit. So I want to make sure I get him with his arm up in the air there, right? I can pull him down a little bit. So here it goes. All right, not bad. Now I might want to adjust it a little bit. You know, he's a little over that way far, but you get the idea. And that's how I kind of start to put together a vertical video from a longer form piece of content, right? We can add in backgrounds. We can, you know, put in, you know, blur backgrounds. We can add text. We can, you know, scale things up just so they fit inside that vertical format window. There's a lot of options and creativity of things that you can do in order to make, you know, your horizontal video into vertical video. And to see what the final video looks like, I'm going to play it right now for you. This is kind of how it all comes together when you come up with a little short at the end. So let's go ahead and roll that tape.
The heroes of the faith, forever he shall reign. So let it be today, we shall live in heaven with angels and the saints. We raise a mighty roar, glory to our God, who gave us life.
right, guys, there you go. That is how I would take a long form video and then take it and cut it down into smaller pieces for YouTube shorts or TikToks or whatever it might be. You gotta just tweak it a little bit and work with it, but it's all filmed in a horizontal format, and then I make it work for a vertical video. And you got a lot of creativity, obviously, that you can do when you go from that longer video into a smaller video. You can put different cuts together, all kinds of stuff. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. Did you get a little something out of it? Comment down below, let me know. If you have questions on my process, maybe you've got some suggestions on how people can do this better or things that might help other viewers out there, definitely leave it in the comments below. Hey, I even learned from you guys, so if you got a tip from me, leave it in the comments below too. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Go out there, make your vertical videos, make your horizontal videos, make them both, figure it out. It's cool, guys. We love DaVinci Resolve here. All right, guys, with that said, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.